Howdy, folks. I'm Turkey Headband Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Alright, folks. So, this one's a little bit of an odd one today. We have a post that someone made, and then we have the post from the other person's perspective, and they're both wild. So, we're going to read them, and then we'll talk about them. So, let's get into this. Am I the jerk for not letting my sister adopt our late brother's daughter? Typing and on mobile and on a throwaway. Here is some info that leads up to the conflict. I'm a 40-year-old female and I'm the oldest of three. My younger brother unfortunately passed away 5 years ago along with my sister-in-law in a tragic car accident. I was with my husband watching my brother's 1-year-old daughter at the time, and my sister was 22 at the time it happened. My sister-in-law did not want to take in my niece, so me and my husband legally adopted her. We do not have any children of our own because at the age of 28, we decided that we wanted to be child-free. But we absolutely love our niece, Emma, and raised her as our own anyhow. Well, anyhow, here's the problem. My sister Ash, 27, now found out that she and her husband cannot have kids of their own. While I do feel bad for her, when she came over for dinner one night and asked if I was willing to let her adopt Emma. Well, frankly, even though I was planning on being child free, me and my husband absolutely love Emma, even though we are very honest that we aren't her biological parents and show and tell her stories of the actual parents. Emma refers to both me and my husband as mommy and daddy. We cannot just give her up as if she were a mere toy. I told my sister that no, I was not willing, and while I understand where she's coming from, I cannot just let her take Emma from us and mother her out of convenience. This is where Ash starts bawling and shouting at me that it's her turn and that me and my husband didn't even want kids. My husband took Emma upstairs because seeing her auntie cry made Emma upset. I continue trying to sympathize and explain to Ash that Emma sees us as her parents and it isn't fair to Emma to just toss her around. Also, just because Ash is not able to have biological children of her own does not mean she can throw a temper tantrum and be entitled to Emma's life. Ash stops crying and seems to understand, and then she leaves. Well, 5 days later, I get a text from my parents and Ash's husband telling me and my husband to let Ash and her husband adopt Emma, and I can continue to be in Emma's life as her aunt instead. Their other points are that because Ash and Brad are younger, they will live longer for Emma, and because my husband and I just turned 40, we wouldn't have as long. Ouch! Somehow, Ash has gotten some of our cousins involved, and most of my family are willing to cut me off if I do not give Emma to Ash. Lately, knowing my family is willing to cut me off makes me wonder if I was being too harsh by calling Emma out as if she was a child herself. Am I the jerk? Edit. It just came to my mind Ash and her husband cannot afford IVF, and she's more adamant to have children than share our bloodline. I've talked to her about adopting, and she was very excited and pleased. Maybe she thought it was an invitation to adopt Emma? Edit 2. I've been informed that my sister has written a post recently about this event. Even with my name changes, it's still super obvious that it's hers, undoubtedly. She also called me to shriek at me about posting this situation for a random internet strangers to read. Oh, the irony. I'd like to thank all of you for the support, and while reading my sister's post, it almost makes it look like a troll account with how she thinks that she's somehow justified in her actions. It's also apparent that she doesn't even feel grief if losing our brother the same way that I do. She is cold and callous and seems too focused on just her feelings. I'm blocking them all. Anyone that agrees with her will be blocked, and I will be contacting a family attorney to see if I can get a no contact or restraining order against her for the time being. Thank you all for pulling me out of the headspace to even think my sister would be even need a second chance. All right, so that's story one. It's a little bit long, but we'll go to story two. This next one is titled, Am I the Jerk for Wanting to Adopt My Niece So She Can Live a Better Life? We can already see the tone change here.
Mm-hmm.
I am a 27-year-old female, and my husband, Brent, a 29-year-old male, learned about a week ago that I'm not able to have biological children. I was so devastated and cried for about 2 days after learning about it. IVF is off the table because my husband is starting his startup business, so doing IVF would put us in a bad financial situation if successful. My late older brother had a daughter, Rosemary. She was about a year old when he passed, and my older sister Jess took Rosemary in 5 years ago. Keep in mind that my sister and brother in law did not want kids and are happy with a child free life. I've always expressed once I was financially stable, I would be able to take in Rose as my own. My sister agreed at the time. My sister is very emotional, and yes, while I miss my older brother, my sister insisted on teaching and telling Rosemary that my sister is not her actual mother and explained to her that her real parents passed away, which I find extremely upsetting and traumatizing for a 4-year-old at the time. No 4-year-old would understand the concept of death, and I feel that Jess should have waited until Rosemary was older to truly understand. Upon hearing my unfortunate events, Jess was talking to me about adoption and how it would be a good idea and invited me over to her house to talk. She got me very excited, and I assumed that she felt bad for me and wanted to have me adopt my niece and raise her as my own. Jess and her husband have been talking about traveling, mind you, and traveling with a young child is not ideal for my sister. While I was sitting there having dinner with Jess, her husband, and Rosemary, Jess was sympathetic towards me and was talking about possible options on what I could do, knowing that I wanted a big family. That's when I sprung up the question of possibly adopting Rosemary. This was a mistake. Jess got visibly angry and yelled at me, which felt dehumanizing. Her husband took Rosemary up to her room because she started getting fussy. I burst into tears and yelled at Jess that she was being rude and unfair, and Jess told me Rosemary is not a toy and I can't just demand to adopt her. I did not demand to adopt her, but I was very upset, so I left. I told our parents, and our parents absolutely agree with me. I would be a better mother, and Jess didn't even want kids, so she lacks the motherly instinct. But recently, Jess is threatening no contact with me and our parents over this. I feel as if I would give her more love and a better financial future for Rosemary. Am I the jerk for wanting to adopt my niece? Should I have brought it up more tactfully? All right, folks, now that you've heard both sides of the story, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
OP in story one is not the jerk. OP in story two is the jerk.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we do have to clarify that, right?
So, OP1, you are Emma's mom.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter that you didn't give birth to her. You are her mom. You've been her mom for 5 years. And
yeah,
honestly, it sounds like you're rocking it.
yeah, yeah.
Like, you're teaching her about her biological parents, but still, so they don't forget that, how she doesn't forget them, but still fostering a very close, loving relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to give up your child. You're right, it probably would be traumatic, and like, this is just ridiculous on your sister's part.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it boils down to is that OP2 got their hopes up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that originally OP1 may have told her that she was going to basically be willing for giving up the daughter at some point in time, and maybe between now and 5 years that changed clearly, right? And OP1 was allowed to change their mind, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Honestly, she doesn't even seem to have the kid's best interest at
No,
heart.
no, it just
Like,
seems like
that's
she views her as a possession almost.
OP1 had decided she didn't want to be a parent, but she loved the niece enough that she was willing to change her life for her.
Mm-hmm.
OP2 is more obsessed with being a mom
Yeah.
than actually thinking about the psychological
Oh
toll
yeah,
of
and
taking a child out of her family.
yeah. I mean, this kid doesn't need to be passed around between three different adults, right? Maybe she was too young to remember her parents, but that doesn't mean that their memory should be erased, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that OP doesn't love her. It just
Mm-hmm.
means that OP wants her to know more about her upbringing, about her, parents.
Yeah, well, and from everything I've read, it's important to tell children who are adopted
Mm-hmm.
early that they're adopted so they don't have this big bombshell dropped on them when they're older.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to shock someone with this kind of information. That would be pretty cruel. So, yeah, I just don't view OP1 as the jerk in this situation, no matter which side we're looking at here,
Yeah.
right? So, that's my thoughts. So, anyhow, take care and good luck, and let me know what you folks think. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. Amber's got some water, but she also has some tea.
Hmm.
She's just trying to deceive us.
My tea is too hot to drink. What do you get if you cross a quarterback and an elephant?
What are all with the elephant jokes? We had an elephant joke yesterday. Are you picking out elephant jokes? What do you get if you cross an elephant with a quarterback? I would imagine you get very flat football players.
I don't know, but if it wants to score a touchdown, don't try to stop it.
I had the right idea. I mean, that was about as close as you could get to that. I'm on to this book, folks. I'm on to it. It can't fool me. And I have Mega Mint tea. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving us a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.